Sadly, they both die at the end. I am back with another Eunice read. So let's Hi guys! Welcome back to the channel. I am back with another Eunice reads, and I'm gonna try to not make this as long as the last one kasi the last one was almost 40 minutes long. So I'm gonna try my best to not make it 40 minutes long. But I am gonna be talking about quite a few books that I've finished. Last time we did a little reading vlog plus the reviews. Today we're just gonna be doing the reviews. There's 8 books in total. Some of the books I'm gonna be generalizing since most actually of the books that I finished are series like trilogies and duologies. So hopefully this doesn't take that long. So let's start. So for the first book, I will be talking about They Both Die at the End by Silvera. This has been in my TBR for a while, and when I first started watching a lot of book talk, ito yung lagi ko nakikita. Sadly, I only rated it a 3.7. Premise-wise, the book was great. I think yung execution lang yung medyo hindi ko nagustuhan. The premise of it is basically, it's like this alternate universe where a group called Death Cast calls people from like 12 midnight to 3 a.m. to tell them that they're not gonna make it through the next 24 hours. And the story basically focuses on Rufus and Mateo. And also, like the characters that they meet along the way, which was very nice. It shows their point of view of the story. Hindi lang si Rufus tsaka si Mateo. And it basically just takes us along their last few hours before the day ends. I said 3.7 lang to kasi majority of the book, I felt parang flat yung tone niya. Sa akin kasi super important nung first 5 to 10 chapters ng libro kasi it basically sets the tone for the book. And sadly for They Both Die at the End, medyo flat yung tone from the beginning, and then magpipeak lang siya a little bit towards the middle, and then it goes back to having a flat tone towards the end. I don't know if everybody felt like that when reading this, pero that was how I felt. And sayang kasi nga, ang ganda nung premise, ang ganda nung concept na alternate universe. Sadyang I wish a lot of the book was worded differently, especially the ending. Kasi parang coming from this high na ang ganda nung climax to falling action. Kasi parang andun na eh. Sadly for They Both Die at the End, bigla siyang bumagsak ulit towards the end. It's 2 things actually. For the ending, either it could have been worded out differently. Kasi for me, parang lacking yung description, lacking yung kung paano din deliver yung ending. So it could have been worded differently, or it could have ended a couple sentences before. Kasi parang when I read the ending, I was like, yun na yun. Like, sayang kasi ang ganda na nung flow nung story. Ang ganda na nung narrative. Tapos biglang towards the end, parang, yun na yun. Ayun, the book has a lot of nice lessons, especially about getting out of your comfort zone. So it was still a really nice read. It was a nice, like, siguro palate cleanser after reading yung mga previous reads ko to reading the next books that I will be talking to you about. Just very light and very cutesy, parang ganun. It was a nice read. So I don't regret reading it. It was just that, yun nga, medyo lacking lang in some parts for me. Next, the next books is actually from a trilogy. One of my favorite reads I've had for this year. So let me talk about The Inheritance Games trilogy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So we have The Inheritance Games, The Hawthorne Legacy, and The Final Gambit. And oh my gosh, grabe. Okay, so rating ko for all of them, I gave them all a 5-star rate. And grabe, it was just a roller coaster ride for me. So basically, the premise is, for the whole trilogy basically, is about our main girl, Avery Kylie Grams, and how her life changed overnight. Kasi she ended up inheriting billions of dollars from a guy named Tobias Hawthorne, whom she knew nothing about. And for her to inherit everything na sinama dun sa will, she has to stay at the Hawthorne house for a year. And then for every book, merong certain mystery na unfold, which I won't be talking about kasi if I talk about the mysteries for each book, masuspoil kayo. So that's just basically the overall premise and how I can generalize the story for the whole trilogy. And grabe, I have not felt this excited about reading and reviewing a book in such a long time, especially mystery books, kasi I'm a huge fan of mystery books, pero there's something about really good mystery books na minsan hirap akong makahanap kasi I have high expectations for mystery books. And so far, reading the trilogy reminded me of how much I felt reading AGGTM. And grabe, sobrang excited din ako nung binasa ko yung AGGTM kasi it was really how I imagined mystery novels were written. And I felt the same way about the Inheritance Games trilogy kasi these 3 books are short chapters and they just keep you on your toes from start to finish. And something that I found very interesting is it all goes back to the big question of why Avery, and then just other questions start like stemming from that main question. So grabe kasi minsan, when you're reading mystery novels, they sometimes forget to answer certain questions. Pero for this trilogy, every question I asked was answered, which was crazy. So that's also one of the reasons why I ended up loving this trilogy so much, kasi it kept me on my toes, it kept me guessing. You really have to read from first to last to figure out the why. Kasi you'll just be guessing and guessing and guessing until you read the Final Gambit to finally see the answer of why it was Avery, which I think is amazing. Ayan, nagbukas na po ako ng ilaw. So hopefully the lighting is better. Baka nga masyado nang maliwanag. Pero, the next few books, actually we're down to the last 4. So the next duology that I finished was These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. This duology, I swear. Okay, so the premise is basically, or not the premise, it's basically a Romeo and Juliet reimagining set in Shanghai in the year 1926 and then 1927. And it's basically about, it's a Romeo and Juliet reimagining. So we have Roma and Juliet. So Roma is the heir to the White Flower Gang and Juliet is the heir to the Scarlet Gang. Those two gangs have been enemies basically since the world began. And Roma and Juliet have to work together to stop this monster that's plaguing Shanghai. So, it's actually nice kasi it was a reimagining plus with a little bit of like historical fiction type-ish ng story. Although, I think a few of the things here are actual like parts of history. I'm not sure. Hindi ako talaga ma-history na person, so I'm not really sure. Pero I do think it is a retelling plus historical fiction or basta history subgenre of book. And grabe, akala ko dati hindi ko may enjoy yung dalawang genre na yung magkasama kasi I tried it before with The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Hindi ko masyado na-enjoy kasi yung war na storyline, hindi ko masyado na-enjoy. And even with this duology, akala ko hindi ko siya ma-enjoy kasi there's stuff about like gangs and all that stuff. Obviously, fights and all that. Akala ko talaga hindi ko siya ma-enjoy, pero I ended up enjoying this duology. So, for these violent delights, I gave this a 4-star rate. And then, our violent ends, I gave it a 5. So, basically, parang, with these violent delights, it's more of story building and more of, like, past events na parang resurfacing lang. So, it's basically just welcoming us to the story of Roma and Juliet and the setting, and it's like setting the tone basically for our violent ends. And I mean, you guys can guess what's gonna happen since it is a Romeo and Juliet reimagining. Pero yeah, the events that lead up to the end are just heartbreaking. It was a roller coaster ride of emotions for me, especially our violent ends. Hindi ko in-expect talaga na may enjoy ko yung duology. I just thought na I just get through the duology just to see how I feel, pero I ended up enjoying it. Our Violent Ends actually is one of my favorite reads, along with the Inheritance Games Trilogy. Our Violent Ends is one of my favorite reads for the year. So, sobrang grabe. Chloe Gong made me look forward to retellings, reimaginings with a hint of history. Kasi, it's, I don't know, I can't even explain it. Sobrang ganda lang niya mag-narrate ng story na you're like, one chapter na lang. Tapos, before you know it, you're already ending the book. So, that's crazy in itself. Kasi, akala ko talaga I wouldn't enjoy reading these types of books anymore. Kasi nga, my brain cannot function well sometimes. Minsan nakakalimot ako ng mga information, pero I definitely enjoyed reading this duology. So, 4 stars and 5 stars for me. And we're down to the last 2 books. Another duology. These ones I recently finished just this April. It is the Celestial Kingdom duology by Sulin Tan. So we have Daughter of the Moon Goddess and Heart of the Sun Warrior. And I was very scared reading this too kasi roughly they're almost 500 pages worth of story. So talagang takot ako kasi it's my first time reading these like chunky books. Kasi before, I would only read up until like 300, 450 pages worth of like books. Pero it was my first time reading almost like 800, 900 pages. For both naman yun. So, like, they were like 400 something. Nearly 500 nga per book. I gave the first book, Daughter of the Moon Goddess, a 4-star. And then, I gave Heart of the Sun Warrior a 4.5 star. So, the premise is basically, it's high fantasy ba to? I'm not sure, pero it's definitely fantasy heavy. And it basically focuses on our, well, it focuses on a lot of things, pero it mainly focuses on our main character, Xingyin. I hope I'm not saying that wrong. And her journey through finding herself and just figuring things out for her. Kasi she's been this girl who had just always stayed at her house. Kasi andun lang yung mom niya. And before like problem arises, yun lang yung world na alam niya. So basically the two books are about her journey to figuring out who she is, what her mindset is like as an individual, and just about love, and just a lot of lessons along the way about self-love and maturity. Especially sa Heart of the Sun Warrior, it shows a lot of character maturity, especially for I don't know if I should say it. It's especially for Wenji. I hope I'm saying his name right. I have a more detailed review on this sa Goodreads kasi I don't want to say anything here sa YouTube na magiging spoilers. So if you guys want, you can check sa Goodreads. Pero do read it with caution kasi I do, not into detail naman, pero I do say some stuff there na can potentially be spoilers. Pero yeah, I ended up enjoying Heart of the Sun Warrior more kasi I just felt like the characters were more relatable. Xingyin was more relatable with her mindset and how just realistic she was thinking. Kasi parang I saw reviews on Goodreads saying na her shift in character was something na people didn't enjoy. Kasi parang she ended up not being this strong warrior na she was during the first book, and her mindset was conflicting and all that stuff. Parang ganun yung mga sinasabi nila on Goodreads. Pero I think that added more to just how relatable and realistic her mindset was about how she feels and about how she wants to save the ones that she loves. Kasi it shows you that not all warriors are strong. They have their questioning moments, and Xingyin definitely showed it sa Heart of the Sun Warrior. As well as yun nga, maturity, something na I enjoyed seeing kasi it was definitely what made Heart of the Sun Warrior a better read for me than Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Not that Daughter of the Moon Goddess was childish, pero it was a lot more world building and the initial steps to self-love and just figuring out who we are and all that stuff. So definitely a duology that you have to finish from start to end. Kasi it really is nice reading that narrative na fantasy pero it's somewhat realistic. And Su Lynn definitely did a great job with how she narrates the story kasi you would think na parang 400, 500 pages for one book, it will get you bored from some time na, especially with descriptions and all that stuff, pero I was not bored at all at any point of the book. Su Lynn definitely knows how to capture her audience with her words and her descriptions. So this duology was really good. It was a nice way to end April, and yeah, I'm so happy. So that is actually all the books. Again, hopefully that's not as long as the last one. As I'm filming this, I only have one more trilogy that I need to finish, and I'm actually gonna film a different Eunice reads for that. That should be uploaded by the end of May. Pero bahala na. We'll see. It's a different Eunice reads. I'm gonna be focusing on the trilogy that I'm reading. It's Caraval. The Caraval trilogy. I'm excited to get through that kasi after I finish the Caraval trilogy, I am gonna start reading and finishing the Harry Potter series. That's one of my main goals for reading this year, is to finally finish reading Harry Potter. I've only ever read up until Prisoner of Azkaban kasi I've always been scared to start reading The Goblet of Fire kasi before, 800 pages to me was just too much. So this year, hopefully, I get to finish the 7 books and finally put a close to me reading Harry Potter kasi I've had the books since 2016 and just ko 2023 na po. 7 years old na sa akin yung Harry Potter. Hanggang ngayon, hindi ko pa rin siya tapos basahin. So, hopefully, I get through it this year. Be on the lookout for more Eunice reads. I think if all goes well and if everything goes to plan, I will be uploading Eunice reads every end of the month or every start of a new month, depending on like other uploads. So yeah, I'm gonna end the vlog here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know it was more of a sit-down video rather than the last Eunice reads na merong reading vlog, but I hope you guys still enjoyed. And if you guys did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Again, you don't have to, but it will be highly appreciated. And hopefully I will be able to upload again next week. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, back to school uploads na yung next week kasi I'm about to start my next term soon. I hope you guys enjoyed and don't forget to stay #Eunice. See you guys. I don't wanna make my bed. I'll save up all my energy instead. You take